I remember when I first got into weed. I wanted to redo everything I'd ever done, but while high. Every experience, every meal, and of course, every game. Playing video games is my second favorite thing to do when I've been smoking. So I'm gonna serve the community by ranking my top 5 video games to play while high. Number 5, Mass Effect. The first one. This is my favorite game in the series. That's right, even better than 2. It has this atmosphere that none of the others have been able to recapture. This air of mysteriousness despite taking place in the Milky Way galaxy, which is literally where I live. The game has such a large scope. All these different planets to read about and explore, everything from planetary cities to small colonies to barren wastelands. That peaceful yet ominous music on the ship, talking to your crewmates and forming bonds with them, earning their loyalty over time, exploring space, and exploring the worlds. I love riding around in that piece of shit car that doesn't work and mining for asteroids and just seeing what's out there to discover. Plus, pretty colors. One time I was exploring this planet just as the sun was rising in real life. I felt so peaceful and perfect and thought, what better way to top this off than with a few puffs? And once I did, I was in a toasty trance. It was crazy. The only reason this game isn't higher, no pun intended, is because you don't want to be baked the whole way through on your first time. The story requires your active participation and undivided attention. Feel free to be high when exploring planets, but otherwise, save it for your second playthrough. Number 4, Assassin's Creed Unity. I am convinced this game is meant to be played while high. Some people say AC Unity is dog shit, and to be honest, they're kinda right. It's borderline unplayable, Arno's a douchebag, and the game's take on the French Revolution is so bad it almost seems like the writers are endorsing monarchy. It's a real turd of a game. But in the middle of that turd is a little piece of chocolate, and it's the best chocolate you'll ever taste. So just hit the bong and watch that dog shit melt away. You'll find yourself enjoying the game's strengths more, like the parkour, the stealth, the setting, and the soundtrack. And you'll find it easier to ignore its flaws, like the characters, the bugs, the combat, the politics, the plot holes, the tired revenge story, the English accents, the frame rate, and the shitty outfits. Look at these. They're so stupid. The game designers must be smoking themselves if they think I'm gonna dress up like this. But the best part is, you don't have to pay attention to the story. In fact, I recommend you don't. It's terrible. I always change it to French dialogue so I don't have to listen to what they're saying. With my creative side unleashed, I found myself rewriting the story in my head, and it was much better than what we got from Ubisoft. Just wish I could remember it. Number 3, Tetris. This is a game that lets you turn your brain off, which is good, because when I'm high, my brain is completely useless. Sometimes I'll just lie in my bed, mindlessly moving those blocks into place until I fall asleep. And then I start seeing them in my dreams. And the music is great too. I don't care if it's the same 10-second melody over and over again. I could listen to it until the day I die. Weed also gives you an edge. It's like you cease to be a human being and become this unconscious, unfeeling machine whose only function is to play Tetris. Honestly, I don't have much else to say about this, but that's kind of the point. It's simple and fun. Number 2, Red Dead Redemption 2. I pretty much built my YouTube channel on this game. My most viewed videos are Red Dead clips that I accumulated over the course of a weed bender, fittingly enough. You can get lost in this game like no other, and weed intensifies that. When you're high, you may as well be plugged into the cowboy matrix. The rest of your life stops mattering and there is only Red Dead. It's one of the few games where I enjoy just traversing the map for its own sake, looking at nature, the animals, the architecture. There is nothing more peaceful than getting baked at night and then journeying through the world. Just you, your horse, and the country. My favorite spot is northern West Elizabeth because of the pretty purple flowers. And then there's Arthur, my favorite character of all time. When you explore, you start noticing his mannerisms, how he sings and hums to himself while riding, his comments and comebacks, the way he talks to his horse. These little quirks are what make you love Arthur, and when you're high, they make you feel that much closer to him. Here's a story. One time I was high and drunk while hunting for the legendary wolf, in that pretty area with the springs, and I was listening to Starman by David Bowie. and all of the beauty just overwhelmed me to the point where I literally started crying. And number 1 is Shadow of the Colossus. Holy shit, this game is pure concentrated atmosphere. Play it for 5 minutes and you'll agree that it goes with weed like peanut butter with jelly. This is because it has some of the most mellow lows and most exhilarating highs in gaming. It has a similar feel to Red Dead when traversing the world on your horse, but then there's that epic feeling of climbing those Colossi? Those big ass animals. The adrenaline rush is overwhelming when you're stoned. I remember when I first fought Colossus number 2. This guy right here. I was stupid high. I was trying to figure out how to defeat him. I was climbing his hairy legs and trying to find the glowing symbols, but I couldn't, so I just kept climbing and falling, and climbing and falling, and the epic music was piercing through my soul. I noticed how his face looked kinda goofy, but in a sad way, and I questioned if what I was doing was even right. Then everything started looking wavy and weird. I thought I was gonna have an aneurysm. Good times. Thanks for watching to the end. Check out the videos on screen for more, and consider subscribing if you find yourself enjoying them. Have a good one.